Okay, so let's talk about storyboarding a little bit. We just watched those 2 videos, and now you've got the actual visual storyboard that I want you to have for my class. Every director is going to have their own version of what they want their storyboard to look like. As you get more experience, and if you go into this field, even if it's for like that second guy was just about making videos for companies, which are usually pretty short, and they're training videos, they still plan them out. You're going to tweak your storyboard how you want it, okay? So the first thing, let's go 1 person in each group. How about Izzy, Clara, Ruthwick, John, and Sophia? I want each one of you guys to take down these samples so that your team has a sample on the storyboard, okay? Question?
We were actually going to choose somebody because we wanted.
I chose them.
Okay.
All right. Everybody else should be lid down right now.
What if you're looking at the shot sheet?
What's that?
The shot sheet, in case you want to see like what the camera techniques it.
Well, you guys are, I'm just going to give you a sample, and then you're going to do your own together. Okay? So first thing I'd like is obviously where it says name, I want the names of all group members. Okay. The project title for all of you guys, this project is your reporter movie. And then what I've tried to create here is quite literally for each of your scenes, what kind of planning needs to go into it before. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is give me a scene number, because you're going to do a lot of these, right? So scene number 1 here. You're going to do a lot of these, and if you don't have the scene numbers, you're going to get confused about the order. It'll seem to make sense while you're doing it, but then it won't make sense later, okay? In this box, and yes, I'm an incredible artist, so please don't feel overwhelmed by my talent. Yours will be just as good as mine, I promise. So what we want here is a pictorial description of the scene. And that's a fancy way of saying what?
A picture.
A picture, or?
Just a picture of what's happening.
Yeah, just a quick sketch, right? I just want you to sketch out your scene. So I liked what the storyboard artist said in the first video that we just watched, that you want to be thinking about not only what's in the scene, but the movement in the scene, okay? So for instance, again, I'm a trained artist. All you really need is just a simple stick figure. Okay, I know. I've been doing this for a long time. Believe me, it's pretty impressive. I know. All right, but I like the way she added. Okay, movement of the character is a small arrow, whereas movement potentially of the camera is going to be larger arrows. Right. So she had hers kind of delineated by larger, chunkier arrows. I would go with that. Okay. So you're showing what that camera work is going to be there. So that's what that box is for, is to give that visual to everyone in the group of what that scene is going to look like. Underneath here, pretty self-explanatory. You've got your camera person. Remember, that camera person for us is also the director. They call the shots for this scene. Everyone in your group is going to be the director for at least one of the shots. Okay? They hold the camera. They tell everybody what to do. Everybody should know what to do because everybody has access to the storyboard. We've got our camera techniques and angles right here. So this is where, right off the top, this becomes your shot list. Okay, what shots are used in this scene. Okay, put them in order. Right? So maybe we're going to start with a long shot, right? Just an LS, and then into a close-up, into a big close-up, right? So we're going to go from way far out, tight, and then even tighter, all right? In this box down here, we've got any audio effects, transitions, special effects, or props. And sorry, does yours say costumes also? Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to work down some old. So this should also say costumes here. You literally need to plan everything. I would say the costumes and the props for filming are probably more important because that is pre-production. I want you to think about some effects that you might add in post-production. That's the editing phase. But costumes and props are going to be huge. So keeping a reporter movie, does somebody need to wear a suit and tie? Okay. Does someone need a microphone? Is somebody going to need some glasses, a wig, whatever it might be, right? And that's got to be for each person in the scene. Okay? So for each character, you're going to need, what is their costuming? One of the biggest mistakes we make at middle school is when we film on multiple days, we don't costume the same on each day, and then it looks like, who's that character? Why don't they have the same costume on, unless it's a next day or something like that in the scene. In this reporter movie, this is all happening at once, right? It's a short movie. We've gone live to Miller Creek Middle School, that kind of a thing. Now the last piece that we have is up here, and this is lined so that I do want you guys to write up here, okay? So what we're going to be doing up here is simply a brief description. And it's sort of like the director in the first movie was saying, where he said he was verbalizing to the storyboard artist what he wanted. This is sort of your verbalizing piece, but it's written down so that everybody has it, right? So I want the who, okay? So I want actors, and then what character do they equal? So if it's Riley, then is Riley the reporter? Is Riley the crazy lady running out of the building? Is Riley the principal who has just been abducted by aliens but it has been returned back to planet Earth? Whatever the scenario, we need to know. Everybody in your group needs to know who she is for that one. Okay? From there, we also need to know location. All right, so that's the where. Where is this shot taking place? So as you guys are walking around campus for the next few days, you're scouting locations, right? When you're on your way to PE, when you're on your way to art, to math, to science, whatever it is, be scouting locations that you think are really going to work well for this movie. And it might be just a short scene, or it could be the majority of the movie, depending on how your group is choosing how to do that. Okay? Then we need to know the what. Okay? And of course, that is what's happening in this scene. And what I really want there is just a brief description which is really just an overview of scene actions. Okay? What's going to happen in that scene? Because your sketch has not given us the whole, exactly what's going to go on. The sketch is just the basic what's happening and the movement. The brief description should tell us, anchor comes on and opens in frantic voice about alien abduction at Miller Creek Middle School. And remember, each one of these is for one scene in your movie. So imagine it being the camera turns on, the camera shoots what you've planned, and then the camera turns off. And then the next piece would be, all right, what's the next time the camera turns on? What should we be filming? Remember, all of these need to tell your story. There's nothing that's a throwaway. So that's why you do the planning. I love the first guy was just like, hey, look, a lot of this stuff might end up going away because what you're doing is you're discussing, you're planning, you're going through the process of creativity, of decision making, and then you might decide, oh, I want to get rid of that. Or your group says, you know what, we should put this in here instead of that. And that's why we number our scenes, because if we all of a sudden cross off scene 2, we can bring in another scene 2 later. Or if we decide we don't need scene 2, then the reality is you can just put skip to scene 3 in the margin, ultimately. Okay? That's what I want out of this storyboard. Thank you guys very much.